If you're anything like me, you probably are a little short on space, a little short on time, and you don't mind rolling up your sleeves and getting a job done yourself because you know that way you'll do it right. You just maybe wish it was a little bit easier. Let me show you what I'm dealing with here. My garage is absolutely packed with bikes, vlogging stuff, you name it. At the same time, I'm not opposed to spending a little bit of money on the right stuff that makes life easier.
What up guys, today we're going to be reviewing the Let's Roll motorcycle dolly and lift. This 2-in-1 duo lets you jack up your motorcycles for service and also put it on top of a small space-saving dolly to, well, save some space in your garage. So it's super good news for people who have tight garage spaces, or it's also good news for people who want to do their own service, maybe save some money. We're going to see how well the hype lives up to reality.
It's not the first time I've done reviews of dollies. There's obviously your very basic Harbor Freight generic one. Honestly, it's super cheap. Casters are too small. You have more expensive options like this one here with much larger casters, but it takes up a lot of floor space even when you're not using it, so that's kind of a downside. And then you have this, which takes up a lot less space because you can kind of all put it together or turn on its side. It's really going to tuck underneath the shelf. Let's just see how well it works and hopefully I don't drop my Bonneville.
Now, one cool thing about the combo is that both the dolly and the jack are made in the USA, but before I sound too much like a sales pitch, you want to make sure that it is compatible with your motorcycle before you buy it, because it's not compatible with all motorcycles. In fact, it won't work with most of mine. It's not going to work with my Kawasaki Z900 RS over there. It's not going to work with my BMW F700 GS over there. It's not going to work with my G650 GS, which you guys know is in Italy.
Man, how do you get tired of this view, eh? You can't.
It's impossible. If you do, you're a dick.
More videos on that trip coming up later. Now, to Let's Roll's credit, they are super honest with this. For now, I do know it's compatible with my Bonneville, so we're gonna try it out my Triumph Bonneville and see how well expectations line up with reality. So first things first, assembly.
So you can kind of make it even without reading the instructions. In reality, it only took like a few minutes to put together. It was super simple. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of nuts and bolts, and then 4 more sets at the ends. The only thing you really screwed up if you're not paying attention, the casters with the lock go on this side, casters with no lock on that side. Other than that, you can pretty much look at the picture and put it together real quick.
One thing I do recommend waiting for is your buddy to have some free time to come over and give you a hand your first time using it.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous to be doing this for the first time by myself, but let's see how easy it does or doesn't work.
I did it all solo. You can totally do it all solo by yourself, but I was being like really slow and really cautious my first time using it. And if I just had a friend there, I could have just like blazed through everything so much faster. You will have a much better first experience if you have someone there to spot you and be an extra set of eyes. Anyway, once your buddy's there, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is put the bike in gear, just to stop it from rolling around unpredictably too much. Next, you're gonna slide the jack underneath the motorcycle and pay special attention to make sure it's not gonna hit anything but your frame on its way up. What I found was my Bonneville, when it was leaned over, the exhaust pipe actually was hanging a little bit beneath the frame, which meant that the jack would have lifted my exhaust pipe, which obviously you don't want that.
So what I've done to try to help, I put a block of wood underneath the kickstand because that way it would hold the bike a little bit more straight.
Instead of my bike leaning like this, my bike leaned a little bit more like this, and that was enough to change the clearance. So now my frame was at the very bottom, so I could use a jack and safely and smoothly lift it up. Now, the first time I jacked up the Bonneville, the jack was probably a little bit too far forward because of the position of where the kickstand pivots on that bike, and it just felt awkward. I had to keep pushing down on the handlebar to stop the bike from like wanting to tip backwards. I ended up just lowering the bike and repositioning the jack a little bit and doing it again. Again, it's one of those things where if you have a friend with you, it'll be a lot less scary the first time. I didn't like it. I lowered it back down. I adjusted the jack a little bit again. I tried to get a little bit better position. I only really moved it 1 inch, but that seemed to make a big difference because the second time I lifted it up, it was much smoother, much more safe.
See, so now it's a lot more balanced actually. Yeah, now it's way more balanced. Okay, this is good.
I did have to stop a few times to kind of walk around the bike and make sure that everything was still clear and still good. I was being extra cautious. At this point, you got your motorcycle and it's jacked way up in the air, and now you just take the dolly and you just slide it right underneath the motorcycle, and then you're just gonna lower the jack until you've now rested the motorcycle onto the dolly, and then you just slide the jack out from underneath. Now we gotta see how well this thing actually rolls around and does its dolly function. and actually it does it really well. The caster wheels are huge. I have a cheaper dolly, like one of those like generic ones. It has these tiny little casters, they're metal, and on like cement floor that is anything but perfectly smooth, and even sometimes if it is perfectly smooth, it kind of like gets stuck and doesn't roll smoothly at all. These casters are big, thick, quality, juicy wheels. Like they go over all the little imperfections. They're awesome. They are as good as the casters on a premium aluminum motorcycle dolly that I reviewed last year. I'll link to that as well. It rolls around super smoothly, as you guys can tell, which leaves us to talk about value and whether or not you should buy this product, and my recommendation how you can actually make this product better and save money at the same time. So first of all, the combo kit that I got with both the dolly and the jack is $629 US, which is it's not a little bit of money, it's enough, right? The dolly is awesome. I like that it's small form factor. I also like that you can buy it separately for like $395. That $395 is a lot less than the premium dolly that I reviewed last year. So good price, small size, not bad. And of course, it's made in USA. The thing I have issue with is the jack. The jack adds $234 to the price, and in my opinion, it falls short on expectations. It was difficult and awkward to work with on my Bonneville. I don't know why they didn't go with a jack similar to this style. So if you see this one, it has little arms, and you can adjust where they go, and you can adjust the angles, and you can make it perfectly kind of fit to pick up your frame.
You can make it all line up, you can tighten it so it stays in the right place. If you lift it up with this, you would avoid all the obstacles of the kickstands, you would avoid all the obstacles of your exhaust pipes leaning over more on one side versus the other, you would avoid all of the obstacles of your oil filter sticking out underneath the frame. This lift with this cruiser is what you really want.
When I use my Let's Roll dolly, I use the jack that I've used for all of my customer bikes, for my own bike, and this jack that I use with the Let's Roll dolly is only $100 US. So it's literally less than half the price, and I think it makes it for a safer and overall easier, better experience. I do really like the Let's Roll dolly. I think that is a great product. I like that it's made in the USA. I like that the company is super honest and super straightforward with, you know, what bikes this is and isn't compatible with. They don't try and like mislead you or anything. They made me check measurements just to be extra safe before sending out the products over to me. So I appreciate that kind of like, hey, we want to make sure you have a good time kind of attitude. I just think their jack leaves to be desired. So for the money saved, get the dolly, get yourself a good jack. I'll link to the jacks that I use. And maybe Let's Roll will see this, maybe they'll update their jack, and maybe that'll be better for customers, better for them, and everybody wins. Anyway, if you like no-nonsense motorcycle reviews, I'm Adrian from YouMotorcycle. This is what I do. Hit the subscribe button for more. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned anything or just enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It just helps the video reach more and more people, helps me grow my channel. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Ride safe. Have fun. Peace.